I had a high-end steakhouse in Atlanta in the shops of Buckhead. It was called American Cut, and probably one of the nicest steakhouses there. 3 stories, beautiful, and it was like my best kept secret. I remember Nas was on tour. He stopped by. He was like, "Yo, you own this?" I'm like, "Yeah." He was like, "This is crazy." So we sitting there, but it's all classy.
Right.
Man, the minute I went on radio one day and it was like, "Yeah, you know, I own this American Cut," I went back there. You would have thought it was Freaknik.
They was in there.
The whole thing, it started going down. You go in there to eat, you see a cat you used to hustle with. I'm like, oh my God.
Hey, Jesus said I could be up there.
Right.
Great morning, business owners and managers. Wess Walters here, and welcome to another awesome episode of CX in the Morning, customer experience in the morning. On every single CX in the morning, I'll bless you with customer service tips, customer experience tricks, and I'll leave you with gems. And by gems, you know I mean actionable takeaways that you can implement at the speed of now. Immediately after this broadcast, you'll be able to take what you've learned, sharing it with your team and your business, and making your team and your business better. And who doesn't want to be better, right? Try to be 1% better every day. Better dad, better father, better friend, better professional. Just try to be 1% better every day. All right, so how's everybody doing? The check-in before the lesson. How is the family doing? I know it's been a while, but you know, when things are going well and you're scaling the business, you spend more time with the clients that are paying. So hence why I've been away for a minute. But we're working on some things that will keep you closer to me, even when I'm not doing these free broadcasts, because this is for the love. This is for the family. And we're working on some things that's going to be ready before the end of the year, where we can always be close and intimate, even when I'm not doing the CX in the mornings. All right. So here it is. By now, so I did a video on this. If you go to my Instagram, you're going to see a notepad video. I did a notepad video of this before. And it's an old story by now, but some of my patrons asked me to comment more on this piece. I didn't thought it needed more commenting, but apparently, yeah, they want me to cover this again. So I'm going to cover it one last time so that it's broken down, so it's forever broken. I'm not going to cover this again. But, you know, I just want to give my perspective on it because I'm all about entrepreneurship, all about Black entrepreneurship. And I happen to like Jay-Z. So why not? So let me share my handy dandy screen here and let the juggling begin.
I had a high-end steakhouse in Atlanta in the shops of Buckhead. It was called American Cut, and probably one of the nicest steakhouses there. 3 stories, beautiful, and it was like my best kept secret. I remember Nas was on tour. He stopped by. He was like, "Yo, you own this?" I'm like, "Yeah." He was like, "This is crazy." So we sitting there, but it's all classy.
Right.
Man, the minute I went on radio one day and it was like, "Yeah, you know, I own this American Cut," I went back there. You would have thought it was Freaknik.
They was in there.
The whole thing, it started going down. You go in there to eat, you see a cat you used to hustle with. I'm like, oh my God.
Hey, Jesus said I could be up there.
Right.
All right, cool. So that was Jeezy on Nick Cannon's show, and stop sharing. Well, no, I'm going to keep sharing because I want to show some other videos. So I want to show some other videos of what Jeezy's concern was. Valid concerns, by the way. I disagree from a business point of view of what happened. That's Jeezy's point of view. And by all means, it is the gospel because he is the owner of the restaurant. So I have never been to American Steakhouse because I don't eat steak. So I haven't been to a steakhouse in probably 25 years. And you know, who goes to a steakhouse for seafood, right? But so I would be out of transparency. I've never been to the steakhouse. I'm going to be very clear, but I want to give a free external audit. And if Jeezy is looking at this, or Jeezy's team, they can see this and they can poke holes in it and be like, hey, Wes, you're wrong. And so I'm open for criticism. I'm open for you to be like, Wes, you're so wrong. I've been to the steakhouse 100 times and this is what happened. Fine. Please correct me. I'm actually looking for critics. I want you to correct me. Show me where I'm wrong. But I'm going to show, from a business point of view, I'm going to give Jeezy and his steakhouse a free external audit. Yes, free, of what I think happened, based on not wishful thinking, not based on I have a hunch. No, based on data. I only make decisions based on data. And I have enough customers like Jeezy over the last decade where I can predict this is what happened, because I've seen it happen before. So I want to be very clear. My hunch is not a hunch because I rolled the dice and it landed on heads and I'm like, this is what happened. No, no, no. My decisions and my view is based on data. I only make decisions based on data, and the feedback is an audit based on data, based on hundreds of other restaurant owners just like Jeezy. All right, so let's play the other clips of what, according to Jeezy, it turned into Freaknik. So this is what Jeezy feared, or this is what Freaknik. I want to put I wish you could put a parental guidance, not a parental guidance, a debauchery violence notice on here, right? Because what you're about to witness, you'll be like, this cannot be a restaurant. You'll be like, nah, this is not adults doing this in a restaurant. Can't be. And I'm sadly to say, yes, this is a restaurant. This is a public place where, imagine you took your lady, or your little baby girl. Let's just say you took your daughter, daddy. All the daddy girls come close, right? All the daddy girls. What is it? Is it called father girls? What is it called, man? Girl father. I think that's what it's called, right? But all of the fathers who have daughters, right? So you take your little girl for a date. And this is personal because I don't have a little girl anymore, but I had a daughter when she was young, and I was always take her on dates, showing her, what a man is supposed to do. So I was taking my daughters on dates before. And imagine me, or imagine you, father. So let me talk to the humanity. Let me focus into the dads. So imagine you take your daughter, your nice little 7-year-old. She has a little princess dress on, a little crown, and you're dressed in whatever she wants you to dress on as that day, because you guys had tea at home, and she's like, I want you to be Spider-Man. So you got your Spider-Man outfit on, right? No. You're the Batman today, right? You got Batman outfit. She's dressed as a Disney princess, and you're having a wonderful time. You take her to a dinner. And you're like, you know what? I think we're past Chuck E. Cheese now. I want to show her what fine dining looks like. Great. And she's loving it. She feels so special. She's like with the man of her dreams. She's with her daddy, her king, her superhero. This is what you are to your daughter, right? And then out of nowhere, so right after the waitress brings the cheese sticks to your little princess, or what do kids like? Cheese sticks and nachos, right? Brings the nachos. And right after that, you turn to the right and you see this. Ta-da! Here you go.
When you just wanted a nice quiet breakfast with the family.
This is a restaurant, by the way, not a club. This is a restaurant. So imagine you're with your little princess then out of nowhere, she sees Black women that she's eventually going to grow up to be. She's seen Black women that she idolized, Black women that are showing her how women are supposed to behave, and they're twerking on the tables. Let that sink in. How do you respond as a father? Because your little princess is right here. She's eating her little cheese sticks, her little nachos, yum, 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 yum. And then booty popping everywhere. What do you do as a father? How do you explain to your daughter that this is not the behavior that you're supposed to embrace or demonstrate? She's like, well, Daddy, that beautiful lady that you said that was beautiful, she was on the table. And you said I'm beautiful, right? And you like beauty. So I would think you would want me to be on the table too, twerking. So a couple of years ago, let's fast forward, a gentleman brother down in Houston had a restaurant, and this same type of degenerate behavior was demonstrated, and he shut it down quickly. Show you that clip.
I invested a lot of money into buying this building, into developing this concept, so Black people can have somewhere nice to go to, okay? Somewhere where we can feel good about ourselves as a, come on.
That brother in Houston, I forgot the name of the restaurant, but they were doing that same type of behavior, and they try to cancel him. The sisterhood of failure, they got online and Twitter, Black Twitter, and they started attacking this brother and, you know, saying, because he said in the clip, he like, I don't need your money. I created this establishment so Black people can have a nice place to go, and I don't need your money, you know, meaning your degenerate money. And they wanted to cancel this brother. But let's get it back. Let's bring it back to Jeezy. I wanted to lay the foundation so that you know what was possible with Jeezy. And then I'm going to bring it home for business now. So this is what's possible, which we don't want. I'm going to be very clear. I do not want that. That type of behavior is unacceptable. It is degenerate behavior, and I hate it. So I'm going to be very clear. So if you're going to cut sound bites out of this, take that sound bite. Wess does not approve of that type of behavior. So now let's bring us full circle. All right. So Jeezy says that the minute he announced he was the owner, it turned into Freaknik. Disagree. I don't think that happened overnight. I disagree. That did not happen. It was not the minute he said he owns this restaurant. All of a sudden, it was just hood stuff. No, I disagree. So let's just start with, let's just say there was a dress code, because again, I've not been to a steakhouse in over a quarter of a century, because I don't eat steak, and I'm not going to go to a steakhouse for seafood. So I don't know what the dress code is for high-end steakhouses, but I'm assuming if you add the word high-end, you got to have a blazer on. If not a blazer, you got to be well-dressed. Even without a blazer, you got to have a dress shirt, button down, shirt with a collar. I always keep a blazer in the car. You listen, gentlemen, just keep a blazer hanging in the car. Keep a blazer. You never, listen, you could have jeans and sneakers with holes in it. A blazer makes it all right. Just put a blazer on. It could be no shoes. I've seen brothers get married on the beach with a blazer, shoeless. So a blazer does that. A blazer can dress up a jeans, a t-shirt, even if a t-shirt without a collar. You have a blazer over it, you can technically get into facilities that you would normally not be able to get into with a t-shirt. A blazer does that. So I'm assuming it's a high-end steakhouse, so you should have whether it's a steakhouse or not, if it's high-end, you should have a button-down shirt, all right? So I'm assuming that's what I'm going to assume. When you use the word high-end, there are certain things, prerequisites that come with high end. So I'm going to go with that, right? So here is this. This is why it didn't happen the way it is. Jeezy is describing it. Jeezy said, hey, I announced it. It turned into freaking. Nah, that wasn't overnight. It was not. It was an internal failure. So this was an internal customer's failure. Now, Jeezy and his team need to take ownership for this. So let's just say you have a dress code. There's high-end establishment. If there's a dress code, if someone comes to the restaurant not properly dressed, it ends right there. It ends right there. If you're not properly dressed, you can't even get. Remember that clip in Chris Brown song? You can't get in. You can't even get in. How you gonna hate from the outside? You can't even get in. So you're not dressed properly, about face, you're gone. So Jeezy made his announcement, and it was not like the next day or the same day we saw a decline. It wasn't like, all right, everybody's on the radio listening. Jeezy owns a restaurant. Everybody show up at 12 for lunch. It wasn't like that. The decline was slow. Was it the slow decline? So here's what happened. The internal customers, Jeezy's team lowered their standard with the dress code / what's acceptable behavior. Because I'm not going to just put it in the dress code. But the dress code is the first barrier. The dress code is that triage call. So to say, hey, is this a good fit or not? The dress code say, hey, you pass or you don't pass. So let's move past the dress code. Acceptable behavior on the customers as well as the team players. Here it is. Jeezy makes the announcement. You have some employees that never even knew that Jeezy was their boss or the owner. So when they found out Jeezy's the boss, those young millennials, hey, I'm working at Jeezy. Jeezy's my boss. Matter of fact, Jeezy's over there. Taking snatch at Jeezy or acting now how what they perceived is acceptable behavior because Jeezy is a trap star. And I'm from the trap. So I'm going to behave trap. So it was a lowering of standards, one with the dress code. Let's get past the dress code. But what's acceptable behavior from the customers, the external customers, as well as the internal customers. So when I say external customers, I mean the customers that support the business. As well, when I say internal customers, I mean the team players, the Jeezy's employees. So there was a breach from the internal side, because the internal dictates what happens. And you want your employees to treat your customers well, treat your employees well. Everything happens inside first. So the failure happened internally. Jeezy could have said, hey, I am a trap star and I have a trap star restaurant. If that barrier, those gatekeepers do not allow you in, I don't care what Jeezy says. So I want to paint this very clear that it was the internal team that after that announcement, they were like, we can let this slide. Yes, you don't have a blazer on, but I'm going to let you go this time. Yes, you have a jersey on, but it's Friday after 10. Get in. Acceptable behavior. Somebody in there wilding out. Normally, you would have got G-checked quickly and removed. They're like, it's all good. It's Jeezy's restaurant. Because Jeezy wouldn't do anything either. So we see how this happened internally that allowed more of that behavior to come in. So again, your internal customers were like, it's owned by a trap star now. I can start acting hood. I'm going to just start posting on social media. Matter of fact, here is me in the hallway where I'm supposed to be picking up food. I'm twerking. So we see how this is internal. Now, of course, that ushers in another level, the second phase, which is the DDP, the dumbing down paradigm, where the linguistic codes or the language that's being used by the internal customers to the external customers and to the other internal customers That happens now. It's no longer sir or Mr. It's what good? What's popping? Instead of saying, welcome to this restaurant. Hey, what's good? How y'all doing? So again, the dumbing down paradigm is initiated in the second phase. So again, it happened in the first state. The internal customers could have put a stop to this. Jesus on the radio today, he says, everyone in Atlanta, if you're free at 12, come to the restaurant. We're going to have a Freaknik. The gatekeepers could have put a stop to that. Again, even if Jeezy, which he didn't, if Jeezy was on the radio and says, everybody in Atlanta, come to my restaurant. We're going to have a cookout. And it's going to be a hood fest. When they got there, the gatekeepers could have been like, no. I'm not sure what you heard, but this is a classy, high-end steakhouse. First of all, you can't come in here with sneakers. Second, purple hair is not going to work. Third, the list goes on and on. The gatekeepers had the power to stop this. The gatekeepers declined slowly. It wasn't automatic. It wasn't overnight. Slowly, and then that led to phase 2, which is DDP, the dumbing down paradigm, right? Where the language goes. Now, this is again an attack on the company's culture overall. Why it's so important to have the culture, and not just have the culture, but protect the culture. If you establish a culture, this is what we stand for. This is our mission statement. This is our vision statement. This is what's acceptable behavior. This is what's not acceptable. This is how we conduct ourselves. If you take such a long time in creating that culture, well, you got to protect the culture. Someone announcing, even the owner of the restaurant announcing it on the radio, hey, this is what we're doing now. No. The culture is already established. Like, one person can't change the culture that quick. No. I don't care what type of superstar you are. Once you have a culture, you know how many years it took for, when colonizers went into other places, how many years it took to remove the language? This is what we speak. This is our native language. And now France has colonized. You know how long it took for the generations to speak for French to be the official language, or English comes in and be like, hey, I know you guys speak Tree. I know you guys speak local Nigerian language or whatever, but now you're going to speak English. Like, what's English? Yeah, don't worry. In 100 years, you're going to figure it out. So changing culture doesn't happen overnight. It takes years. So one person doesn't have the power to change culture. Culture is that strong. So the dumbing down paradigm kicks in. And of course, that's the first sign of, hey, it's about to go down. Downhill is what I mean. Not down as it's about to be popping, but it's about to go downhill. Because I tell you this, what didn't change? What didn't change? Oh, let me land this plane right now. What didn't change? The soundtrack. So you got to go back to some of my old stuff. And for the ones who've been following, they will know what I'm talking about. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, just got to go back to watch some of my old content. So there's a video on there I talked about the soundtrack of the restaurant. So the ambient customer experience didn't change. So go back and watch the video that I talked about, the ambient customer experience. Wes, what is the ambient customer experience? The ambient customer experience are those things that create and harbor a great customer experience that go unnoticed. These are the subliminal things that happen. The soundtrack, the music. What type of music is played at a high-end steakhouse? I'll tell you, it's nice and slow. It's not Juvenile, back that thing up. It's not Sierra, level up. No. It's slow music. Here's why, because if the music is slow, you eat slower. If you eat slower, you spend more money. So the soundtrack didn't change. What else affects the ambient customer experience? The sense of touch, the temperature, the biggest organ, your skin, the biggest organ on your body, the sense of touch. That didn't change. because I don't believe Jeezy changed the temperature in the restaurant. That did not change. What else didn't change in the ambient customer experience? Sense of taste. Jeezy didn't hire a new chef and all of a sudden it became hood. He didn't hire a chef that was making bologna sandwiches or mayonnaise sandwiches. That didn't change. What else didn't change? Smell, the ambient customer experience. How do high-end steakhouse smells? How do high-end steakhouse, how do they smell? There's a unique smell to his restaurant, whether it's mahogany, whether it's, again, I have not been to the restaurant, but I'm assuming that there's wood, that they have injected the scent of mahogany in there. These are the things that go unnoticed. You're like, never really noticed that. Yeah. Is it vanilla? A sense of vanilla. And parts of the restaurant might smell different. The foyer might have a scent. When you get into the dining room, there's a difference. And he said it had 3 different levels. So maybe each of the different floors had different scents. So that didn't change. And visually, the sense of sight, that didn't change because the themes of the restaurant didn't change. It was still a high-end steakhouse. I'm assuming at a high-end steakhouse, they have pictures of longhorns. So there's cows. There's possibly, rustic pictures of cowboys. So that didn't change. Not hearing anything, not smelling anything. But if you walked in there just looking at the visual, that didn't change. That didn't say trap music. That didn't say hood. That didn't say come up and be ghetto. So we can see what didn't change. By showing what didn't change, we can show what did change. Yeah, that's a little bars. I like that. That sounded good. Some bars. You can clap it up. So by showing what didn't change, you can see what did change. So all of the components of the ambient customer experience never change. And then you're like, what in the world is ambient customer experience? I'm glad you asked. Go back to YouTube and search the videos that talked about the ambient customer experience, and that will get you up to speed. And then come back and watch this. Because those things, those 5 senses, those 5 components that affect the 5 senses did not change. So what did change? The internal customers letting go or lowering their standards of what's acceptable behavior, what's acceptable dress, and what are we going to allow here in this restaurant, hence affecting the culture internally first, as well as to the external customers. That's what happened. And each time they lowered the standard, each time they go around that circle, they lowered it once, morale goes down. Employee churn goes down. Each time it goes around, we're just going to lower our standard one more time. Down goes employee churn. Just going to lower our standard one more time. Customer churn. Be like, oh, I ain't got to, my uniform ain't got to be ironed anymore. The person who's coming to the restaurant, if my uniform is not ironed, I don't expect his clothes to be ironed. Matter of fact, you can come in with that jersey. Come on in. It's basketball season anyway. Standards are lowered. Go around one more time. Company culture is lowered. Eventually, what you have is an asylum. Yes, where crazy individuals feel that they can get on a table and twerk without no problem. No discourse, no recourse. No recourse. None, absolutely. So, where eventually you have an asylum where individuals feel that it's okay to twerk on a table, to stand on a table. Look, I wouldn't stand on a table if I built the table. So I'm definitely not standing on no table where I don't know if the table leg is strong. I'm like, are you kidding me? But again, in an asylum, people are not thinking clearly. So they're like, I can stand on this table just like I can stand on this floor. I don't know I'm going to stand on this table. I'm going to stand on this table in high heels, and I'm going to twerk. I'm going to dance on this table in high heels. You kidding me? This is an asylum. But let's land this plane right now. All of that happened because you're into, so all the business owners, you're like, okay, how does this apply to me? This is how this applies to you. Once you take the time as a business owner to create a company culture, you protect it like your life depends on it, because it does. Like your business depends on it, because it does. Teach your team to hold the freaking line. The line is, this is our standards. This is what we stand for. This is what we're not going to allow. You got to have team players. Everyone has to be in the same mindset that this is what the culture is about. And we will protect that at all costs. Hold the freaking line. Drop a comments below. And I got this new thing that I'm starting where you can buy me a cup of coffee. Isn't that crazy? All you got to do is buy me a cup of coffee. So I'm going to put my cash. You're going to see the Cash App somewhere here. And all you got is the mentors that I follow. They're like, yo, just have someone buy you a cup of coffee. I'm like, what? That's brilliant. So you guys can buy me a cup of coffee now. All you got to do, I'm going to put the Cash App on my PayPal. That's going to be somewhere floating. And all you have to do is just buy me a cup of coffee. If you like the content, if you appreciate it, just buy Wes a cup of coffee. All right? It was a pleasure. See you guys next time.